Thank you very much, and I'd like to request everyone to please remain standing for the national anthem.
Sri Lanka Mata, Appa Sri Lanka, Namo 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 Mata, Sundara Sri Harini, Surani Ati Sobhamana Lanka.
Thank you very much. And as every Sri Lankan event commences with the traditional lighting of the oil lamp, which marks the commencement of something good. So, marking the commencement of SLENDO 2025, we'd like to proceed to the traditional lighting of the oil lamp. And on behalf of the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, I'd like to invite our dignitaries to do the honors. I'd like to invite Dr. Champika Wickramasinghe, Chief Guest, Deputy Director General, Non-Communicable Diseases, Ministry of Health, Professor Mark Gurnall, Guest of Honor, Professor, Clinical Endocrinology, University of Cambridge, UK, Section Lead, Department of Medicine, University of Cambridge, UK, Clinical Subdean, School of Clinical Medicine, University of Cambridge, UK, Dr. Mudita Veerakodi, President, Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, Dr. Aravindan Mahalingam, President-elect, Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, Dr. Niranjala Megoda Vidanage, immediate past President, Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, Dr. Henry Rajaratnam, patron and most senior past President of the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, Professor Sumudhu Senaviratna, Dr. Henry Rajaratnam, orator, Dr. Kamani Leonarachi, Chairperson, Sri Lanka Diabetes Federation, the public arm of the SLCE, Dr. Chaturi Jayawardena, Treasurer, Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, Dr. Nipun De Silva, Secretary, Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, all past presidents, Professor Chandrika Vijayaratna, Dr. Noel Somasundaram, Vidya Jyoti Professor Prasad Katulanda, Dr. Udita Bulugahapetiya, Dr. Manilka Sumanathilaka, Dr. Charles Anthony Pillai, Dr. Chaminda Garasingha, and Dr. Dimutu Mutukuda. Thank you very much to all our dignitaries for doing the honors. And now I would like to invite our dignitaries to the head table. Dr. Mudita Virakari, President, Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists. Dr. Champika Vikramasinghe, Chief Guest, Deputy Director General, Non-Communicable Disease, Ministry of Health. Professor Mark Gurnall, our guest of honor. Professor, Clinical Endocrinology, University of Cambridge, UK. Section Lead, Department of Medicine, University of Cambridge, UK. Clinical Subdean, School of Clinical Medicine, University of Cambridge, UK. Professor Sumudhu Senaviratna, Orator, Professor in Pediatric Endocrinology, Department of Pediatrics, Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo. And I'd also like to invite Dr. Nipun De Silva, Secretary, Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pride and honor that we welcome you to the inauguration of SLENDO 2025, the annual academic sessions of the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists. And from its inception, that's in 1979, the college has grown from modest beginnings to a nationally recognized body, uniting specialists and serving communities from Point Pedro to Dondra. This year, under the inspiring theme, Together in Endocrinology, Integrating Knowledge, Transforming Lives, we gather not only to share knowledge, but to strengthen the bonds of collaboration that shape the future of diabetes, endocrine, and metabolic care in our nation. With that vision in our hearts, let us commence the proceedings of SLENDO 2025.
At the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, we unite professionals in diabetes and endocrine care, committed to improving lives through leadership in clinical care, education, research, and development. Over the years, we have become a trusted hub for knowledge and research, focusing on preventive care, education, and public awareness, so no one is left behind. Through continuous medical education programs, we keep doctors and healthcare workers updated and empowered. This year, our flagship event, SLENDO 2025 brings global and local experts together for symposia, plenaries, and meet the expert sessions that inspire collaboration. We also hold monthly clinical meetings and conduct outreach workshops nationwide, including in Batticaloa, Gaul, and Anuradhapura. Special days like Thyroid Day, Obesity Day, and Osteoporosis Day strengthen doctors' skills. This year we host the ISCD Quality Bone Densitometry course, one of the world's leading training programs, and continue our certificate course in diabetes care to raise standards nationwide. We value teamwork. Our Diabetes Educator Nursing Officer program, run with National Health Authorities, equips nurses to better care for people with diabetes. We also connect globally through initiatives such as the Pituitary Symposium with the UK. Our Guideline Committee develops care standards with the Ministry of Health. This year, we update the Diabetes Clinical Practice Guideline and progress on guidelines for hyperglycemia in pregnancy and primary aldosteronism. A key milestone is the launch of the South Asian Journal of Diabetes, Endocrinology and Metabolism with Walter Kluwer, expanding our research reach. We support people with type 1 diabetes through the Step D program, providing free insulin, equipment and education supported by Life for a Child. Resources like our carbohydrate counting booklet and Carb Counter SLCE app help patients manage life confidently. For young adults, our Empower, Connect and Thrive Together camps and the Diode SL database improve research and care. Sri Lanka was the first country to launch the Diabetes Compass with the World Diabetes Foundation, enabling community screening and AI-driven care. Through our public arm, the Sri Lanka Diabetes Federation, we promote healthy lifestyles with walks, competitions, and awareness programs. From its roots in 1979 under Professor Carlo Fonseca, the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists has grown into a national leader committed to creating healthier communities, empowering healthcare professionals, and supporting every person on their journey to better health.
And now I would like to invite the President of the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, Dr. Mudita Virakodi, to deliver the welcome address and the presidential address.
Good evening, distinguished guests, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. As the President of the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, I warmly welcome you to SLENDO 2025. It is an honor to host this landmark event in collaboration with many other endocrine societies from around the globe. With this, we have traversed national boundaries, extending SLENDO to hopefully provide an international flavor to this conference. We have guest speakers from the United Kingdom, rest of Europe, Australia, Singapore, and our neighboring South Asian countries, along with many speakers from Sri Lanka. Our theme this year, Together in Endocrinology, Integrating Knowledge, Transforming Lives, will be brought to life by more than 50 topics, including cutting-edge symposia, meet the expert sessions, plenaries, and the SLENDO quiz. We have successfully concluded 2 pre-congress workshops on metabolic bone diseases and the diabetic foot. On behalf of the college, I extend my heartfelt welcome to Dr. Champika Wickramasinghe, our much honored and esteemed chief guest, Deputy Director General of Non-Communicable Diseases of the Ministry of Health, Sri Lanka. Dr. Wickramasinghe has always been a tower of strength to our college. And indeed, we are most grateful for her leadership and guidance. I would also like to welcome all Health Ministry officials who are here tonight as well. We are delighted to welcome Professor Mark Gurnell, Professor in Clinical Endocrinology from the University of Cambridge, as our guest of honor. Professor Gurnall is representing the Society for Endocrinology, UK. I'm indeed grateful to Dr. Anna Michelle, who is here today with us, for facilitating this event and supporting us to bring in many speakers from the Society of Endocrinology, UK. I warmly welcome them all. I also welcome speakers representing the European Association for the Study of Diabetes, EASD, the International Society for Endocrinology, ICE, and the South Asian Federation of Endocrine Societies, SAFES, who have always supported us in hosting this event by their active participation. We strongly believe that South Asia needs to unite and rise as a region. In this context, SLENDO 2025 will showcase a SAFES-dedicated symposium, and I warmly welcome Professor Faria Afsana, President of SAFES. The International Diabetes Federation is a global alliance of over 250 national diabetes associations dedicated to improving lives of people with diabetes and promoting diabetes care, prevention, and cure. The Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists have become its member recently, and I warmly welcome Dr. Banshi Sabu, Chair for the Southeast Asian region of IDF. I would like to welcome Professor Sumudu Seniviratna, our eloquent orator tonight, and congratulate her on being selected for the distinguished Dr. Henry Rajaratnam oration. Organizing academic sessions of this nature should not be the prime responsibility of a professional college. There are more dire needs of a country and its health system for which a professional college can support. I'm proud to say that throughout the years, our college has addressed many such issues. Continuous medical education is one entity that should not be intended just for postgraduate trainees. Doctors involved in managing patients at different levels of healthcare in the country, nurses, and members of allied health sciences who play a pivotal role in healthcare delivery need to be involved in continuous medical education. Our college, through our programs such as the Diabetes Certificate course for primary care doctors, Diabetes Nursing Educator training programs, and peripheral meetings in places like Batiklu and Anuradhapura, have attempted to disseminate knowledge far and wide. The prevalence of non-communicable diseases are increasing globally, but in South Asia, they are rising exponentially. About 20% of the adult urban population is estimated to be affected by diabetes in Sri Lanka. Hence, public education, especially to detect early, manage effectively, and prevent complications of diabetes, are a need of the hour. The Sri Lanka Diabetes Federation, the public arm of the college, is actively involved in education of the public, and we constantly seek novel ways of doing so, of which you will be updated later today. Dissemination of current knowledge and recommendations is very important. As a leading college, we have continuously been involved in developing guidelines. This year, we have updated the diabetes guideline of 2022 and have almost completed a new guideline on the management of hyperglycemia in pregnancy, in collaboration with the Sri Lanka College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. The official journal of the college has served as a valuable platform for both local and regional scientists and clinicians to share their research knowledge in endocrinology since 2012. This year, we have moved forward in increasing the standards of its publication process, on which you will also be updated later today. Sri Lanka has gone through a very difficult period during the past few years, with the COVID pandemic followed by the economic crisis. Health sector has been affected in many ways, with shortage of medicine and equipment and migration of healthcare workers, making it difficult to provide quality healthcare to all. The Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists has always collaborated with the Ministry of Health to bridge in the gaps in healthcare delivery and to provide quality services to all, on par with those of developed countries. For example, we have managed to provide free insulin, insulin delivery devices, glucometers, and training on carbohydrate counting for all diabetic patients less than 25 years of age in liaison with the Life for a Child organization, Australia. The COMPASS program, in collaboration with the International Diabetes Foundation, has brought artificial intelligence-based community screening programs for non-communicable diseases to our citizens' doorstep. The support rendered by all of you, my colleagues, to carry out a magnitude of projects for the College for 2025 is greatly appreciated. However, I would like to especially thank Dr. Dimuthu Muthukuda, Consultant Endocrinologist of Sri Jayawardhanapura General Hospital, who was the driving force behind many of such projects during this year. Dr. Dimuthu, we immensely appreciate your time and dedication in carrying out these projects. This academic program is a result of enthusiasm, dedication, and timeless efforts of many. I'm indeed grateful to you all. Dr. Nipun, the college secretary, will acknowledge everyone in detail in his vote of thanks. I should, however, take this opportunity to offer Dr. Nipun my sincere most appreciation and gratitude. Nipun worked tirelessly and in a very mature manner, and undertook duties and responsibilities way beyond that of a secretary. He was one driving force that kept our closely knit office team working in enthusiasm. Let us continue to be united as the endocrine family, geared towards the betterment of the lives of our patients, disregarding various boundaries. Let us integrate knowledge, develop our skills, and disseminate that knowledge and skills to transform the lives of us and the lives that we touch. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you a truly memorable Congress and fellowship during SLENDO 2025. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mudita, and I would now like to invite you once again to the podium to introduce the guest of honor.
It is my distinct honor to introduce Professor Mark Gurnell, an internationally renowned clinician scientist and educator in the field of endocrinology, with particular expertise in adrenal, pituitary, and thyroid disorders. He currently serves as Professor of Clinical Endocrinology, Section Lead, Department of Medicine, and Clinical Subdean, School of Clinical Medicine at the University of Cambridge. He also serves as the Clinical Lead, Endocrine Services at the Cambridge University Hospital's NHS Foundation Trust. Professor Gurnell holds multiple senior roles in both undergraduate and postgraduate medical education. He holds several key leadership roles, including Treasurer of the UK Society for Endocrinology, Board Member of the Pituitary Society, Chair of the Pituitary Regional MDT, and he is an active contributor to international endocrine initiatives such as renaming of diabetes insipidus. His academic achievements include over 400 scientific publications, more than 15,000 citations, and an H-index of 55. He has been instrumental in the development of several national and international clinical guidelines and is the recipient of numerous prestigious honors and awards. Professor Gurnell, I would now like to invite you to the podium.
Thank you. Distinguished President, officers, members of the organising committee, guests and friends, I'd just like to extend a very big thank you for the invitation to be here today. It is indeed a great privilege and an honour to be the guest of honour for this conference. This is the third time that I have had the opportunity to visit Sri Lanka. This is the third of the SLENDO conferences that I've attended, and I can tell anybody who is here for the first time that you are going to be in for an absolute treat. This is truly one of the most enjoyable conferences that I get to attend. I was discussing beforehand how many of the larger conferences lack that ability to forge those friendships and links that has been very much a trait of the meetings that I've had here previously. And of course, this is a great opportunity to not only meet old friends, but also to forge some new friendships as well. I think the Society for Endocrinology, as well as the college here in Sri Lanka, share a huge number of values and interests. And I very much like to say thank you on behalf of the Society for Endocrinology to the college for being a good friend. And we look forward to continuing to forge and strengthen those links. I've had the opportunity in Cambridge, as many of my colleagues who are sitting just over here in other centres in the UK, to host visitors and fellows from Sri Lanka over many years now. And I have to say that every time that anybody contacts us, it is always a very easy answer to send back, which is that people would be very welcome. It has always been a highly productive and rewarding experience for those of us in the UK, and I hope also for those who have had the opportunity to visit. I have to say that all of the endocrine trainees that I have had the opportunity of meeting in Cambridge have all been uniformly of a very high standard. And this is actually really, really inspiring to see. People come to a completely different location and they bring with them all of the approaches, skills, attitudes that you would expect of a high quality clinician. So we have always encountered individuals who are incredibly diligent in their clinical practice, who are extremely caring in what they do, but equally, very importantly, also become great friends and show that caring spirit to the patients, which they enormously appreciate. And I hope that this is actually something we can continue to build on in terms of the foundations between the college and the society, because I think we share very similar interests. I was just thinking and reflecting on the fact that actually the strength of many of the Sri Lankan colleagues that I've had the opportunity to meet is very much based in very, very good clinical practice, excellence in clinical practice and diligence. But also there are three pillars really of a career in medicine, and those are not just the clinical practice, but the underpinning by medical education and also by research. And I think it's really, really important that we continue to learn together and to share our expertise. So when people are visiting, of course, it's an opportunity to share knowledge, to transfer knowledge, to educate. But actually, quite often, it's an opportunity to be educated as well. And if that goes according to plan, then everybody is obviously a winner from that situation. But also, I can see that in Sri Lanka, after what have been some recent difficulties, there is an enthusiasm, a willing and a commitment again to ensure that actually education and also increasingly biomedical research is a main aim and goal for those who are practicing in endocrinology. And endocrinology is an academic endeavor. Endocrinology, perhaps as much as any other medical discipline, demands academic rigor, and actually those who practice to a high quality and a high standard are often those who have a full understanding of what it takes to be an academic endocrinologist, practicing either in endocrinology, including more broadly, of course, in the fields of diabetes and metabolism. And this is very important because, as we've already heard, we actually live in a time where endocrine disorders are hugely prevalent and are major causes of morbidity and mortality in the population. And that's now not just the traditional conditions that we think of in terms of metabolic diseases with diabetes and obesity, but even now we start to see in my own field that endocrine hypertension is perhaps the major cause of hypertension, the other major public health problem that we now face. So I'm absolutely sure that we are going to have another excellent meeting. This will be 3.5 days of intense activity, lots of opportunity for debate, respectful discussion, even the occasional disagreement, But at the end of all of that, a huge amount of friendship and a smile on most people's faces. So I would simply like to conclude by saying a very big thank you again to the college for the extremely kind invitation to join you, to be the guest of honour. I hope that I can speak on behalf of all members of the Society for Endocrinology when I say that I'm certain that we will continue to strengthen links between our centres, and I hope that we will continue to see fellows coming to visit and to work with us, and hopefully we may eventually also be in a position to arrange reciprocal fellowships, because I think there is a huge amount that we can learn from each other. So with that, I'd like to conclude by thanking everybody again, and I wish you all the very best for another exciting and enjoyable conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Mark Gurnall. And I would now like to invite the President, Dr. Mudita Veerakkudi, to introduce our chief guest.
Thank you. It is my honor to formally introduce Dr. Champika Wickramasinghe, who currently serves as the Deputy Director General for Non-Communicable Diseases at the Ministry of Health, Sri Lanka. She is a distinguished medical professional, having obtained her MBBS from the University of Peradeniya, followed by a MSc and MD in Community Medicine from the University of Colombo. In addition, she holds several postgraduate qualifications in health program management, public procurement, and monitoring and evaluation. She completed her overseas training in community medicine at the King's College London, UK. Dr. Wickramasinghe brings over 2 decades of leadership experience in Sri Lanka's health sector, having led key divisions including planning, international health, and health information. As the Deputy Director General for NCDs, she has spearheaded national initiatives for prevention and control of chronic diseases, integrating surveillance, policy, and community-level interventions. And now, let me invite Dr. Wickramasinghe to the podium.
Honorable guests, members of the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, distinguished healthcare professionals, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to address you today at the inauguration ceremony of SLENDO 2025. I extend my sincere gratitude to the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists for their kind invitation. The rising tide of obesity, diabetes, and non-communicable diseases threatens our nation's well-being, and South Asia bears a disproportionate burden of these conditions. Our changing lifestyles and genetic predispositions create unique challenges leading to increase in non-communicable diseases. The Ministry of Health has implemented robust measures to combat this epidemic. However, government efforts alone cannot solve this complex problem. This is where professional organizations like Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists make an invaluable difference. Your contributions elevate our healthcare system. As the Deputy Director General of Non-Communicable Diseases of Ministry of Health, Sri Lanka, I have been working closely with the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists and witnessed their active and valuable involvement in education, research, and advocacy in the field of endocrinology to complement and strengthen our national health initiatives. The Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists has applied and got very important projects to Sri Lanka, which has helped in addressing NCDs at community and institutional levels. The college's achievements deserve special recognition. Your training programs empower healthcare workers at all levels. The Diabetes Certificate course for primary care doctors enhances primary care delivery across the country. The innovative Diabetes Educator Nursing Officer program, which is in high demand among nursing officers working at all levels, transforms nursing care for people with diabetes. We have trained most of the nursing officers working at primary care level with the help of the College of Endocrinologists, and establishing wound care corners and regular testing of diabetic patients for complications is part of the primary care reforms. These initiatives demonstrate a commitment for excellence. The leadership extends beyond clinical practice. The development of national guidelines ensures standardized, evidence-based care at all levels. Your support for local research addresses our specific health challenges. The Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists Journal provides an important platform for scientific discourse. I am grateful for the College for their partnership with the Ministry of Health in the Diabetes Compass initiative funded by the World Diabetes Foundation. This program provides a novel AI-based digital solution to combat the rising prevalence of NCDs and their complications. Such projects showcase Sri Lanka's potential in finding innovative solutions to the rising NCD burden. I have observed the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists' commitment to improve the care for people with type 1 diabetes in their efforts to negotiate with international donor organizations in obtaining donations for the patients with type 1 diabetes. They have managed to obtain insulin pens, pen fills, and glucometers and glucometer strips to all the patients with type 1 diabetes across the country. I am aware of many other activities they perform to improve the care of these young people. I must also mention about the public arm of Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, that is, Sri Lanka Diabetic Federation. They conduct several public awareness activities and engage with the community to educate people about prevention and early detection. This conference represents another important milestone in Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists' mission to advance endocrine care in Sri Lanka. This conference offers rich learning opportunities for all participants. I noticed that the parallel sessions thoughtfully cater to both specialist and non-specialist doctors, balancing cutting-edge research with practical application. Such inclusive programming reflects your vision for comprehensive care. I commend the organizing committee for their meticulous planning. Your dedication ensures a productive academic experience for all attendees. To our distinguished speakers and delegates, your participation enriches this event. The knowledge shared here will directly benefit patient care across our nation. As we begin this conference, let us remember our shared purpose. Every discussion, every presentation, every connection made here serves a greater goal. We strive to improve lives and build a healthier future for Sri Lanka. I congratulate all involved in making this event possible. May the coming years be filled with insightful discussions and meaningful exchanges. I wish you all a most successful conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Champika Vikramasinghe. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists is proud to present the updated Clinical Practice Guideline for Diabetes 2025, featuring the latest evidence-based recommendations carefully tailored to the local context. This updated edition incorporates the most recent advances in diabetes care while preserving the user-friendly format and clinically focused approach that made the first edition in 2022 such a valued resource. May I now invite Dr. Dimuthu Muthukuda, Chairperson, and Dr. Nirmal De Silva, Convener of the Guideline Committee of the SLCE, to present the first copies of the guideline to our distinguished dignitaries. Thank you very much. And I would now like to invite Dr. Sonali Gunathilaka, Council Member, Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, to read the citations of the honorary fellowships and fellowships.
Thank you very much. It is with great honor and pride that we gather here this evening to recognize exceptional individuals who have made outstanding contributions to the field of endocrinology, both in Sri Lanka and abroad. The Fellowship of Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists is one of our highest accolades bestowed upon those whose dedication, expertise, and service have advanced patient care, research, and education. It is now my privilege to present to you the citations of these eminent awardees. Madam President, esteemed members of the Council, distinguished guests, it is both privilege and an honor to present Dr. Channa N. Jayasena, an internationally recognized clinician, scientist, whose work in reproductive endocrinology has advanced knowledge, clinical practice, and public engagement in the specialty, who will be conferred with the prestigious Honorary Fellowship of the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists this evening. Dr. Channa N. Jayasena, MA, PhD, FRCP, FRCPE, FRCPath, graduated from University of Cambridge with double first-class honours in medical sciences and developmental and neural biology, winning a Clark Prize and multiple scholarships before completing his medical degree in 2001. He was trained in endocrinology at Hammersmith Hospital, Imperial College Healthcare NHS Trust, and earned his PhD in 2011 for pioneering first-in-human studies for kisspeptin studies on reproductive function in women. Currently, clinical reader in reproductive endocrinology at Imperial College London, head of andrology services at North West London Pathology, and consultant in reproductive endocrinology, he has led landmark studies including the first RCT on caloric restriction and sperm function on obese infertile men, and international Testis Consortium on testosterone safety. He has authored over 140 peer-reviewed publications, contributed to over 10 books and book chapters, making significant contributions to the field of reproductive endocrinology. He supervised 9 PhD theses and secured over £6 million in research funding, half as principal investigator. His many awards, including Young Investigator Award, Young Endocrinologist Prize Lecture, and a National Clinical Impact Award, shows his excellence in his career. Dr. Jayasena is a leader within the Society of Endocrinology, serving as Chair of Public Engagement, Chair of Equality, Diversity and Inclusion, and lead for the Andrology Network, and holds editorial roles with leading journals, including being the Associate Editor of JCEM. Through his leadership, research, and dedication to education and patient care, Dr. Channa Jayasena has made outstanding contributions to reproductive endocrinology. Madam President, members of the Council, and ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to present Dr. Channa N. Jayasena for the prestigious Honorary Fellowship of the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists. Madam President, esteemed members of the Council, distinguished guests, it is with great pleasure and respect that I present to you an esteemed figure in the field of endocrinology who will be conferred with prestigious Honorary Fellowship of Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists this evening. Professor Mohammad Karim Miran, BSc, MBBS, MD, FRCP, FRCP-PAP, is a distinguished clinician, educator, researcher, and a leader whose career has left a lasting mark on endocrinology, metabolic medicine, and medical education in UK and internationally. Professor Miran obtained his BSc honours in biochemistry in 1985 and MBBS with honours in 1988 from the Royal Free Hospital School of Medicine, London University, graduating with multiple distinctions and national prizes. His postgraduate achievements include MD in 1996, Fellowship of Royal College of Physicians, Fellowship of Royal College of Pathologists, and Fellowship of Higher Education Academy. Currently Professor and Honorary Consultant in Endocrinology at Hammersmith Hospital, Imperial College London, and Director of Teaching for the Faculty of Medicine, he has shaped the training of generations of doctors through the rigorous 6-year curriculum and innovative assessment methods. His leadership, including being the Training Program Director for North West London, Head of Specialty for Endocrinology, and organizer of internationally recognized masterclasses, has unified services and elevated clinical training standards. Professor Meeran has authored over 200 peer-reviewed publications and led pioneering research in pituitary and adrenal disorders, glucocorticoid replacement, and steroid assay innovation, with national adoption through NIHR. His landmark work on GLP-1, from animal studies to translation into human physiology, has transformed understanding of appetite regulation and metabolic disease. Renowned as an inspirational educator, he has been repeatedly recognized with Best Teacher Awards, an Imperial College Award for Excellence in Teaching, and global influence through leadership in the UK, Europe, and Middle East. His contributions in patient advocacy, guideline development, and international collaboration extend in his impact well beyond academia. Today, we honor Professor Mohammed Karim Meeran for his outstanding contributions in endocrinology, research, education, and patient care, and for his dedication to advancing knowledge and training the future generations. Madam President, members of the Council, ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to present Professor Karim Meeran for the prestigious Honorary Fellowship of the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists. Madam President, members of the Council, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great privilege and honor to present the members of the College who will be conferred the prestigious fellowships of Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists this evening. Dr. Mauli Hiromi Arambewala, MBBS, MD, MRCP, FRACP. Dr. Arambewala graduated with MBBS from University of Sri Jayawardenepura in 2007, followed by MD from University of Colombo in 2014. She earned MRCP UK in 2015, board certification in endocrinology in 2017, and fellowship of Royal Australian College of Physicians in 2025. Her postgraduate training spans senior registrar and fellowships in endocrinology at Sheffield Teaching Hospitals, UK. She currently serves as staff specialist in endocrinology at Royal Darwin Hospital, Australia, and as a consultant endocrinologist and senior lecturer at the University of Sri Jayawardenepura. A pioneer in type 1 and young onset diabetes care in Sri Lanka, Dr. Arambewala established the first dedicated adult clinic for these patients and spearheaded the national-wide young onset diabetes database, DIODECEL. She is one of the key members in the team who led the Step D education program, developing resources, carb counting apps, and training programs that have transformed patient care and empowered healthcare professionals across the country. She is also the lead author and co-editor of trilingual book, Carb Counter for People Living with Diabetes, which is a great resource for type 1 diabetes management. Dr. Arambewala is an accomplished clinician and researcher with numerous publications in diabetes, endocrinology, and metabolic disorders. She has presented her work at major international conferences and contributed to national clinical guideline development. Beyond her research, she has been a mentor, educator, and examiner shaping the next generation of endocrinologists and healthcare professionals as a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Medical Sciences and Allied Health Sciences at University of Sri Jayawardenepura. Her leadership is Peri, and she has served as council member and assistant treasurer of the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, secretary of the Sri Lanka Diabetes Federation, and as Sri Lankan representative on the Asia Pacific Regional Panel of the International Society for Clinical Densitometry. Madam President, esteemed members of the Council, it is with great pride and admiration that I present Dr. Mauli Hiromi Arambevela for the Fellowship of the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists. Madam President, members of the Council, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great privilege and honor to present the members of the College who will be conferred prestigious Fellowship of Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists this evening. Dr. Chathuri Krishnajina Jayawardena, MBBS, MD. Dr. Jayawardana's journey in medicine reflects a consistent pursuit of excellence, combining rigorous clinical practice with dedication to endocrinology research and teaching. She obtained her MBBS from Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo in 2007 and subsequently completed her Doctorate of Medicine at the Postgraduate Institute of Medicine, University of Colombo in 2013. She had her specialist training in endocrinology at the Royal Brisbane and Women's Hospital and received a board certification in endocrinology in 2016. Dr. Jayawardena is currently serving as the consultant endocrinologist in National Hospital of Sri Lanka. Dr. Jayawardena's contributions to research and academic medicine are significant, and she has published on rare endocrine disorders and adrenal pathology. She has been actively involved in developing and contributing to national clinical guidelines. She has also presented her work in oral and poster presentations at key national meetings, highlighting her commitment to knowledge dissemination and advancing clinical practice in endocrinology. She has consistently contributed to the growth and development of endocrinology community in Sri Lanka by her active contribution through numerous prestigious posts during her illustrative career as an endocrinologist, such as former president of Sri Lanka Diabetes Federation in 2024 and being the dynamic treasurer of Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists for the year 2025. Madam President, esteemed members of the Council and distinguished colleagues, it is with highest respect and admiration that I present Dr. Chathuri Krishnajina Jayawardena for the Fellowship of Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists. Madam President, members of the Council, and ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege and honor to present the distinguished members of the College who will be conferred with the prestigious Fellowship of Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists this evening. Dr. Thibbotuge Veronica Nayananjani Karunasena, MBBS, MD, MRCP, CCD USA, FRACP. Dr. Karuna Sena graduated with MBBS from University of Colombo in 2005 and MD in Medicine in 2025, winning the P.T. De Silva Gold Medal for Clinical Medicine. She had obtained MRCP in 2013 and the Specialty Certificate in Endocrinology and Diabetes in 2015, certification as Clinical Densitometrist in 2019, and the Fellowship of Royal Australian College of Physicians in 2024. Her postgraduate training included Specialist Registrar Experience and Clinical Research Fellowship in Endocrinology at Sheffield Teaching Hospitals NHS Trust and the University of Sheffield, UK. She has served as the consultant endocrinologist in leading tertiary and secondary care institutions in Sri Lanka and currently serves with the Tasmanian Health Services, Australia. Dr. Karuna Sena's research spans through congenital adrenal hyperplasia, hydrocortisone pharmacology, androgen physiology, obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular risk, with publications both locally and internationally. She has presented at major international conferences such as European Congress of Endocrinology, American Association of Clinical Endocrinology, and Diabetes UK Professional Conference. She is a sought-after speaker on complex endocrine disorders. She has received recognition at the SARC Diabetes Conference also. A dedicated member of professional bodies including Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, Endocrine Society, and American Diabetes Association, she has made lasting contributions to clinical service, research, and education. Notably, her leadership as chairperson of the scientific committee of the SLCE was outstanding. Madam President, members of the Council, it is with great pride that I present Dr. Nayananjani Karunasena for the Fellowship of Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists. Madam President, members of the Council, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege and honor to present the members of the College who will be conferred the prestigious Fellowship of Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists this evening. Dr. Kamani Danushka Liyanarachi, MBBS, MD, MRCP UK. Dr. Liyanarachi is a distinguished consultant endocrinologist recognized for her clinical expertise and dedication to advancing endocrine care in Sri Lanka. Graduating with MBBS honours, she further advanced her training with postgraduate studies at University of Colombo and fellowship at Sheffield Hospital NHS Trust UK, followed by board certification in endocrinology. Currently, she serves as the consultant endocrinologist at DGH Kaluthara. Dr. Liyanarachi is a prolific researcher and an educator who has published extensively in peer-reviewed journals nationally and internationally and presented her research at prominent conferences, earning awards for excellence in oral and poster presentations. Notably, her work on trimester-specific thyroid hormone reference data in Sri Lankan women and the use of etomidate in severe Cushing's syndrome has had significant clinical impact. She had contributed immensely to develop national clinical guidelines on Cushing's syndrome, obesity, and diabetes. A passionate academic, Dr. Liyanarachi has been actively involved in teaching and monitoring undergraduate and postgraduate students, delivering lectures, clinical supervision, and contributing to capacity building programs of healthcare professionals. Beyond academia, she has held key leadership roles, including Secretary and Treasurer of Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, Council member since 2019, and is the current Chairman of Sri Lanka Diabetes Federation, which is the public arm of SLCE. Madam President, esteemed members of Council and distinguished colleagues, it is with great pride and admiration that I present Dr. Kamani Danushka Liyanarachi for the Fellowship of Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists. Madam President, members of the Council, and ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege and honor to present the members of the College who will be conferred the prestigious fellowships of Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists this evening. Dr. Lanana Devi Ranasinghe, MBBS, MD, MRCP, MRCP Diabetes and Endocrinology. Dr. Ranasinghe graduated with MBBS with honours from University of Colombo in 2007, earning first-class honours in Applied Sciences and second-class honours in Clinical and Basic Sciences. She completed her MD in General Medicine from the University of Colombo in 2013 and attained MRCP UK in 2015 and MRCP Diabetes and Endocrinology UK. Her specialist training in diabetes and endocrinology included training in Sri Lanka, followed by clinical fellowship in diabetes and endocrinology at Addenbrooke's Hospital, Cambridge, UK. She has served as a consultant endocrinologist at multiple tertiary and district hospitals in Sri Lanka, where she has pioneered in establishing new endocrine units, expanding the services in the healthcare system in remote and rural areas also in Sri Lanka. Currently, she practices as the consultant endocrinologist at Teaching Hospital, Ratnapura. Dr. Ranasinghe has contributed significantly to clinical research on endocrinology and diabetes, with publications spanning into peripheral arterial disease, thyroid disorders, pituitary disease, and complications of diabetes in national and international journals. She has been actively involved in developing clinical protocols and reference standards. She continues to participate in ongoing clinical trials and research projects. A dedicated member of professional bodies, including Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists and Sri Lanka Medical Association, Dr. Ranasinghe has made lasting contributions to clinical service, research and education of both undergraduate and postgraduate students in medicine and endocrinology. Madam President, esteemed members of the Council, it is with great respect and admiration that I present Dr. Lalana Devi Ranasinghe for the Fellowship of Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sonali. Ladies and gentlemen, we are delighted to announce the relaunch of our journal as South Asian Journal of Diabetes, Endocrinology and Metabolism, the official publication of the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists in partnership with Wolters Kluwer, one of the world's leading publishers. This transition reflects our commitment to expanding the journal's regional footprint while maintaining the highest standards of academic excellence. The SLCE and the editorial board are immensely grateful to Dr. Dimuthu Muthukuda, consultant endocrinologist, for her tireless efforts in establishing this partnership with Wolters Kluwer and making this transition a reality. And now we move on to the launch of the Sri Lanka National Database for Hereditary and Rare Endocrine Disorders. In the complex field of endocrinology, hereditary and rare endocrine disorders present some of the greatest challenges, often difficult to diagnose, manage, and fully understand. Though individually uncommon, these conditions impact many Sri Lankan families, often with limited access to coordinated care or reliable data. To address this need, endocrine centers across the country have come together to create a national platform that unites knowledge, research, and patient care under one umbrella. It is with great pride that we now officially launch the Sri Lanka National Database for Hereditary and Rare Endocrine Disorders, a project dedicated to enhancing research, strengthening clinical care, and improving outcomes for patients across our nation. This initiative was the brainchild of Dr. Dimuthu Muthukuda, who laid the foundation and took the leadership in making this vision a reality. And now we are about to witness the official launch of the Sri Lanka Diabetes Federation official YouTube channel.
උඹ දවසකින් දැක්කේ කොහෙද බෑරක් ගියාද?
පොලේ ගියා පොලේ.
මටත් කතා කළා නම් මාත් එනෝනේ පොලේ යන්න. මේ එළවලු එහෙම ලාභද?
අප්පෝ මං එළවලු ගත්තේ නෑ.
එළවලු ගත්තේ නැත්නම් ඇයි මොකටද පොලේ ගියේ?
මං තනිකර ගත්තේ සීනි මට්ටු කරන කෑම.
ඈ?
ඔව් මේ තෙබු ගත්තා. කෝවක්ක ගත්තා. ඇඹරැල්ල ගත්තා. එතකොට හුලංකීරි අල ගත්තා. එතකොට කොස්කොල දළු වේලකුත් ඒකොල ඒක ගත්තා. පොතලෙම්බුට කොට කෑල්ලක් ගත්තා. ඇහැලා තම්බල බොරෝ.
මේ ඔය සේරම ගත්තට කමක් නැහැ. ඔය හැම දෙයක්ම කණ්ඩ බොණ්ඩ ලෑස්ති වෙන්න එපා. මොකද සීනි වැඩි වෙනවට වැඩිය භයානකයි සීනි අඩු වෙන එක. අන්න ඒක හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න.
Sinina Maruma Thamai, the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists and the Sri Lanka Diabetes Federation remain deeply committed to the well-being of our community, and we just witnessed the launch of the website. Type 2 diabetes and its complications continue to be major social and healthcare challenges. This year, under the leadership of Dr. Kamani Leonarachi, Chairperson, and Dr. Madhushani Karunanayaka, Secretary, the Sri Lanka Diabetes Federation, is advancing its efforts in public engagement and education. A new initiative aimed at enhancing public knowledge and promoting behavioral change to prevent and manage diabetes and metabolic syndrome has been launched through the SLDF YouTube channel for the year 2025, which we just witnessed. And now I would like to invite the President, once again, Dr. Mudita Veerakudi, to introduce the Dr. Henry Rajaratnam orator.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am privileged to introduce Professor Sumudu Nimali Seniviratna, who will deliver the Dr. Henry Rajaratnam Oration 2025. Professor Sumudu Seniviratna currently holds the position of Professor in Pediatric Endocrinology, Department of Pediatrics, Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo. She also serves as the Honorary Consultant Pediatric Endocrinologist, University Pediatric Unit, Lady Ridgeway Hospital for Children, Colombo, and the Director, Center for Complex Hormonal Disorders, Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo. Her postgraduate qualifications include an MD in Pediatrics from PGIM Colombo and a PhD from the University of Auckland, New Zealand, specializing in pediatric endocrine and metabolic disorders. Professor Seniviratna has made substantial scholarly contributions, authoring 10 books and over 50 peer-reviewed publications, while presenting at more than 120 scientific conferences globally. Her research focuses on critical areas, including differences in sex development, congenital adrenal hyperplasia, childhood obesity, and endocrine complications in cancer survivors. I am delighted to present this Medal of Honor to the presenter of Dr. Henry Rajaratnam Oration 2025 to Professor Sumudu Nimali Seniviratna, and most cordially invite her to deliver her oration titled Developmental Programming of Obesity, Diabetes, and Early Life Interventions, a New Paradigm.
Good evening, everyone. Chief guest, Deputy Director for Non-Communicable Diseases, Ministry of Health, Dr. Champika Wickramasinghe. Guest of honor, Professor of Clinical Endocrinology, University of Cambridge, Professor Mark Gonell. President and Council of the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, Dr. Henry Rajaratnam and his family, other distinguished guests, my dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is both a great honor and privilege for me to deliver the Dr. Henry Rajaratnam Oration for the year 2025 on the topic Developmental Programming of Obesity, Diabetes, and Early Life Interventions, a New Paradigm. Dr. Henry Rajaratnam needs no introduction to this distinguished audience. He has been our guiding light as the patron of the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists from its inception as the Endocrine Society in 2006. Sir, it is truly my privilege to deliver this oration in your presence and in your name today. Dr. Rajaratnam's journey has been marked with academic brilliance. He was educated at Royal College, Colombo, where he was awarded with the F.E. Veerasurya Memorial Prize for Best Performance at the Medical Entrance Examination 1995. And from there, he progressed to earn his MBBS in 1962, MD from Ceylon in 1969, MRCP from the UK in 1973. He underwent his overseas training in endocrinology in London under the late Dr. David Ferreman of the Ferreman-Galway Hirsutism Index fame. He also trained in 4 other subspecialties, namely cardiology, respiratory medicine, general medicine, and dermatology. In 1973, he returned home to Sri Lanka, where he served with distinction as a consultant physician in teaching hospitals in Kandy, Ratnapura, and Kurunegala. In 1984, he was appointed as the first physician to the newly designated North Colombo Teaching Hospital in Ragama, where he established the first clinical endocrinology clinic in the state sector in 1985. He then proceeded to the National Hospital of Sri Lanka in 1991, where he again established the endocrine clinic, and he continued to serve with distinction at this unit until his retirement from government service in 1997. However, Dr. Rajaratnam still continues to serve the people of this country as an endocrinologist in the private sector, marking an extraordinary 52 years of clinical service to the nation. Beyond the hospital walls, Dr. Rajaratnam has been a visionary leader and mentor. One of his greatest contributions, perhaps, to endocrinology in Sri Lanka was his pivotal role in establishing endocrinology as a subspecialty in Sri Lanka in 1997. A process initiated by him with a memorandum to the Ministry of Health and carried forward as the chairman of the committee which prepared the course of study leading to its formal recognition. As further testament of his leadership, Dr. Henry Rajaratnam has served as the president of the Ceylon College of Physicians in 1996, as well as being the president of the Endocrine Society of Sri Lanka for 10 years, from 1993 to 2003. He is also a founder patron of the South Asian Federation of Endocrine Societies, a trustee of the Ceylon College of Physicians, and he has served as a council member of the Ceylon College of Physicians for 25 years. He served for 6 years as the Asian Pacific Committee of the Royal Australasian College of Physicians, enabling him to place 17 postgraduates in their higher training abroad. And he also used his good offices to initiate pediatric endocrinology training in Melbourne. In recognition of his contributions, he has been awarded with fellowships from the Royal College of Physicians, London, the Ceylon College of Physicians, and the American College of Endocrinology, as well as honorary fellowships from the Royal Australasian College of Physicians, the Sri Lanka College of General Practitioners, and the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinology. Dr. Henry Rajaratnam has delivered 2 landmark orations, the Professor K. Rajasurya oration on autoimmune thyroiditis, Why the Fascination, and the inaugural Desamanya S. Ramachandran oration on diabetes, Is it a surgically treatable disease, on the metabolic effects of bariatric surgery, a program he initiated in 2003 with the late surgeon Dr. M. Ganesharatnam. Dr. Rajaratnam has also published pioneering research, including the first description of amylase-rich pleural effusion perforation of the esophagus, and was the first to describe celiac disease, pituitary disease following viper bite, and tick-borne typhus in Sri Lanka. His lifelong commitment to teaching is reflected by his compilation of the medical update of the Sri Lanka College of Physicians and the endocrine update for more than 2.5 decades. And the initiation of the monthly clinical meetings of the Endocrine Society, which still continue to help countless trainees keep abreast of new developments in the field. Furthermore, he has personally contributed to the training of over 55 postgraduate trainees in endocrinology. His legacy is one of wisdom and unwavering commitment to Sri Lankan medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Rajaratnam is not only a pioneer in endocrinology, but also a pillar in Sri Lankan medicine. It is in this spirit, with admiration and gratitude, that I now proceed with the Henry Rajaratnam oration for 2025. Over the past decade, the demographics of obesity and type 2 diabetes have changed dramatically in Sri Lanka and world over. What were quite uncommon diseases when we were children have now become very common, and we are seeing them among young adults and even children today. And this leads us to the question, why? Today, I hope to speak to you about a less recognized but vital factor contributing to this rise, the concept of developmental programming and its impact on the younger generation. And I would like to make a call for action. Given the escalating burden of obesity and type 2 diabetes, I suggest that it is time for a paradigm shift where we move from merely screening, detecting, and treating patients to a more proactive preventive approach using evidence-based interventions starting from early life. During this oration, I wish to talk about 4 main aspects. Firstly, I'd like to start with a brief overview about the extent of burden of diabetes and obesity in Sri Lanka and around the world before we look in detail at the concepts of developmental programming. Then I would like to talk about my experiences in 2 early life interventions trying to target this problem. One, a randomized control trial on antenatal exercise, which I conducted as part of my doctoral studies, and the second, a primary school program which we conducted in Sri Lanka. So first, let's look at the extent of obesity and diabetes. These graphs show how the prevalence of diabetes and obesity has increased in 200 countries around the world. And the first top graph shows diabetes and the second graph shows obesity. And between 1980 and 2015, you can see that the rates have increased in almost all the regions of the world. More alarmingly, this publication in Lancet at the beginning of this year predicts that by 2050, half of the population will be overweight or obese. And even more alarming is the rise in obesity in children. These graphs show the prevalence of obesity among 5 to 19-year-olds over the past 35 years, showing even more rapid increase in obesity among children. And this has led to increase in early onset of type 2 diabetes among adolescents and young adults. Again, this shows how from 1990 to 2019, the prevalence of young onset obesity has risen in all parts of the world. And you can see that countries with middle and low middle income countries have shown the greatest rise and the greatest numbers. This publication in Lancet, in the Global Burden of Disease study looking at childhood obesity, predicts that this is showing the data from 1990 in yellow to 2021, shown by the green arrow, and the predictions up to 2050. And you can see that there is a very rapid prediction in rise of rates, and by 2050 it is predicted that 1 in 3 children will be suffering from overweight or obesity. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you agree with me that it is quite clear that obesity and type 2 diabetes are now increasingly affecting young lives. And the importance of this is quite profound. Obesity and type 2 diabetes lead to significant mortality and premature morbidity, leading to loss of productivity, and it's causing increase in the healthcare burden of all countries around the world. These 2 graphs show how those who suffer from obesity from a young age have a much greater risk of mortality from any cause, as well as cardiovascular mortality. And this is onset of diabetes before the age of 40 years. You can see that they have a 4-fold increase in dying from all causes as well as cardiomortality compared to those without diabetes, shown in blue, and those with late onset of diabetes. And the numbers affected by premature deaths from diseases such as type 2 diabetes, stroke, ischemic heart disease, cancer, and other NCDs are higher among the middle-income countries such as Sri Lanka. So this is data from Sri Lanka, again showing a similar trend with predicted rapid rises in obesity among men, women, boys, and girls. And we can see a very high predicted rate of annual increase of adult obesity by 5.1% per annum, and an even higher increase in childhood obesity by 8.7%, having a major impact on the economy of the country and the GDP. We have, together with other authors, we have looked at some of the impact of obesity and young onset diabetes among Sri Lankan children and youth. The first article shown here, Young Onset Diabetes in Children Experience from the Developing World, done by several co-investigators, showed that among those with diabetes in the young, quite a significant proportion were suffering from obesity-related type 2 diabetes. And we also found a high prevalence of obesity-related metabolic abnormalities among 5 to 18-year-old children from the western province in Sri Lanka. We reported for the first time on the significant psychosocial and physical impact of living with overweight and obesity among Sri Lankan children and the impact on their quality of life. And we have also published on the importance of reaching the community to curb this problem. But ladies and gentlemen, the real problem that I want to address today is the question, why, despite medical progress, is obesity and diabetes continuing to rise, especially among young adults and children around the world? And this brings us to the concept of developmental programming. Obesity is a complex multifactorial disease. Obesity can be simply defined as excess accumulation of fat to an extent that it is harmful to health. Its causation is often simplified as an imbalance between the energy intake in form of high-calorie food and a lesser energy expenditure because of our sedentary lifestyle. But it is important to bear in mind that living beings have biological mechanisms, especially for energy homeostasis. So in order to bring about obesity, there has to be some level of disruption or dysregulation of these systems which are established in early life. It is now well known that the first 1,000 days of life, starting from the day of conception to the second birthday, are critical periods where changes in the pre- and early postnatal environment can affect the physiology and lifelong disease risk, leading to an impact on our lifelong metabolic health. This concept was described as the developmental origins of health and disease in the early 1980s by Dr. David Barker, at a time when obesity was not common around the world. What he described or found was that those born with a low birth weight due to maternal undernutrition had a higher risk of developing adult onset obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and heart disease as adults, showing the critical influence of the in utero nutritional status on long-term health. But more recent data suggests a difference. There appears now to be trouble at both birth ends of the birth weight spectrum. So not only those born low birth weight, but also babies who are born with a higher birth weight because of maternal overnutrition are at greater harm because of the high birth weight. And you can see from the graph that the larger babies seem to be at more risk of these obesity-related complications in later life. This shows the impact of maternal overnutrition on the child. Pre-pregnancy obesity, with or without excessive weight gain during pregnancy, and gestational diabetes lead to alterations in the fetal growth and metabolism, which then leads to alteration in the child's body composition, predisposing them to childhood obesity, which continues into adulthood, leading to obesity-related metabolic complications. A woman who is overweight or obese when pregnant has an abnormal metabolic environment which causes overnutrition in the baby, and this child is very prone to obesity as a child. And when she grows up to be an adult, this in turn will lead to worsening and propagation of this, what we call intergenerational cycle of obesity via developmental programming effects. The mechanisms of developmental programming are still being unraveled, but we know now that the abnormal metabolic milieu associated with maternal obesity, which is marked with insulin resistance, low-grade inflammation, leads to excess of glucose and lipid levels availability to the baby, and also there is alteration of the gut microbiota, and these lead to disruption of the offspring energy regulation via alterations in the organ development, epigenetic changes which lead to disruption of the homeostatic pathways monitoring energy balance. We have published this in the World Journal of Diabetes in 2022, where we describe in detail some of the pathological mechanisms. So there is a lot of interest now to see whether there is any way that we could prevent this adverse programming of offspring obesity by interventions in early life, especially those before birth. There are some elegant studies conducted in 2006 and 2009 which provide some proof of concept. So this was some studies done on women who underwent bariatric surgery and their offspring. Offspring who were conceived before, when the mothers were very obese before bariatric surgery, were compared with their younger siblings who were conceived after the mothers underwent bariatric surgery. And they found a dramatic reduction in birth weight as well as risk of obesity and metabolic abnormalities in the younger children born after bariatric surgery in relation to their older siblings. So this suggests that it is not only genetics or the nurturing patterns which were common in these siblings, but a developmental programming effect which can be modified. So we were interested to see whether lifestyle interventions during pregnancy could have a similar beneficial effect. So now I would like to talk to you a little bit about the impact of antenatal exercise and whether it could have a positive effect. Between 2012 and 2015, I had the opportunity to read for a PhD at the Liggins Institute, University of Auckland, New Zealand, where my topic was on the effects of antenatal exercise in overweight and obese women on maternal and offspring outcomes. We found a research gap that there was lack of data on the impact of antenatal exercise on offspring of overweight and obese mothers. And we hypothesized that antenatal exercise may mitigate some of these obesity-related developmental programming effects in the offspring. These were some of the mechanisms we thought which might be beneficial. We thought antenatal exercise would help to reduce maternal weight gain, improve maternal fitness, and improve the abnormal maternal metabolic milieu, leading to benefits to the mother cells such as reduction in pregnancy complications, delivery complications, and postnatal adiposity. But more importantly, we also postulated that improvement in the metabolic milieu would lead to reduction in the excess nutrient supply to the baby and the metabolic milieu the baby is exposed to, leading to a lowering of the excess birth weight and adiposity and dysregulation of appetite and energy balance. We also looked at barriers, potential barriers to antenatal exercise in pregnant women with obesity. It was a daunting task, but we also looked for strategies we could use to overcome these barriers. These data was published in the American Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology in 2015 under the topic Exercise in Pregnancies Complicated by Obesity, Achieving Benefits and Overcoming Barriers. And with this, we derived a randomized controlled trial called the IMPROVE trial for improving maternal and progeny risk of obesity via exercise, that's the acronym, to look at the impact of antenatal exercise on maternal and offspring health. Our primary outcome was birth weight, and we looked at several other secondary outcomes, including maternal fitness, metabolic markers, pregnancy complications, and the mother's postpartum body composition, as well as other offspring outcomes such as their metabolism and neonatal body composition. The trial protocol was published in BMC Pregnancy and Childbirth. And we recruited 75 participants from the community and randomized them, stratified on ethnicity and parity, into a control group where no exercise intervention was administered, and an exercise group who were enrolled into a stationary cycling program. This was a home-based program of 16 weeks using non-weight bearing stationary cycles. Because they were obese, we thought a non-weight bearing exercise would be more feasible. And the ladies were advised to exercise at moderate intensity using target heart rates, using heart rate monitors, which help to monitor the safety as well as a measure of compliance with the prescribed exercise. And this is the timeline of the study. So we had 3 data collection points. At 20 weeks of gestation, we assessed the socio-demographic data, maternal weight, maternal fitness levels from an aerobic test, and metabolic markers. And then both groups maintained physical diary and dietary records during the intervention period. And at the end of the intervention period at 36 weeks, we again reassessed maternal weight, fitness, and metabolic markers. Cord blood was collected from babies at birth, and 2 weeks after delivery, we looked at the body composition of both the neonates and the mothers via DEXA scanning, and we collected all the delivery data. So these are the baseline characteristics of these study participants. The mean age was 31 years with a mean BMI of 33. There were no differences at baseline in the intervention control arms in fitness levels or maternal metabolic markers. And both baseline and mid-intervention dietary intake and habitual physical activity were similar between the groups by self-assessment questionnaires. So when we look at the maternal outcomes following this intervention, we found a significant improvement in the intervention group on maternal fitness tested by the submaximal aerobic testing at the Liggins Institute. This is one of our study participants. And you can see that in the intervention group shown in red, there was a significant improvement in their fitness levels, while the control group showed a reduction in their fitness levels, probably as pregnancy advanced. So this was quite promising. However, we were disappointed that this did not lead to any changes in the maternal metabolism or any pregnancy outcomes in the mother. And similarly, when we looked at the offspring birth outcomes, the birth weight was not statistically significant between the exercise and control groups, and there were no differences for other anthropometric and offspring outcomes either. When we looked at the neonatal body composition, the adiposity was similar between both groups. However, we found an interesting and unexpected change, that is an increase in the bone mass of the babies whose mothers had exercised, and this was coupled with a reduction in the cord blood interleukin-6 levels in the intervention offspring. It is known that interleukin-6 is an inhibitor of early life fetal growth, so this was something which was quite exciting. However, we wondered why there were no improvement in the clinical outcomes, and what we thought was it's probably the low levels of exercise compliance. So once we downloaded all the heart rate monitor data, we found that there was a decline in exercise, especially with the advancement of pregnancy. And out of the 67 prescribed sessions, only about 22 sessions were employed by majority of patients. So because fat mass and growth is more pronounced towards the latter part of pregnancy, this reduction in exercise, especially during latter part of pregnancy, could be one reason where we did not see any clinical outcomes. So the key findings of this research were exercise led to an improved maternal fitness level, lower interleukin-6 and higher neonatal bone mass in the exercise offspring. However, there was no significant reduction in birth weight, maternal weight gain, or any clinical or metabolic outcomes to suggest that antenatal exercise had led to any reduction in the adverse programming of obesity of these offspring. These findings were published in the British Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology in 2015. We had some interesting secondary findings. The positive impact of antenatal exercise on offspring bone health was presented at the 9th International Conference on Children's Bone Health in Salzburg, Australia, where we won the New Investigator Award. And we also found some interesting sex-specific differences in metabolic profile and offspring body composition and effect of fetal sex on the maternal metabolism, which were published in the Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology. These are novel findings in the field of the evolving field of developmental programming. The key lessons that we learned from this was that overweight and obese women were unlikely to achieve levels of exercise during pregnancy to a level that could prevent adverse fetal programming of offspring obesity. So we suggest that interventions such as these should begin very early in pregnancy or ideally preconceptionally. And indeed it is, I think, important that we start empowering young women in the reproductive age to achieve a healthy lifestyle and BMI before they start planning their pregnancy and educate them on the impact it will have on their offspring. So with this, I returned back to Sri Lanka and I was interested to see what was the effect of this intergenerational obesity cycle in Sri Lanka. So we know in Sri Lanka we have a double burden of malnutrition. We have mothers who are undernourished in the estate sector and women who have overnutrition and gestational diabetes mainly in the urban sector. But when you look at the predictions in Sri Lanka, you can see with the increased rates of obesity we are going to anticipate, it is quite obvious that it is the larger babies who will be contributing to this rapid rise in the future mostly. And with this, we thought of looking at a primary school intervention, knowing that many of the children who are born in Sri Lanka today would be already subject to adverse developmental programming. So I was very fortunate to get involved in this project, which was fondly known as the Chandi Bandi project. This was a multi-stakeholder project with funding from the World Diabetes Foundation, done with the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education, the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, SLMA and Family Health Bureau, and coordinated by the Sri Lanka Diabetes and Cardiovascular Initiative. I was happy to be part of the school health component of this. And our aim of this school health program was to educate, encourage and empower young primary school children towards mindful eating and healthy lifestyle changes to prevent obesity and type 2 diabetes in themselves and their families. There were 3 phases in this project. The first one was that we wanted to develop educational tools which are appropriate for 5 to 7-year-old Sri Lankan children. And secondly, we implemented a pilot project in 4 schools, including both Sinhala medium and Tamil medium schools, boys and girls. 1,042 children participated in the study, and we did it as a pre-post study looking at the outcomes before and after the intervention. We assess outcomes at baseline before the study, 1 week after the intervention, and finally 9 to 12 months after the intervention. So these are the developmental tools we developed. The first one was a 12-page illustrated storybook, which the aim was to educate children on the adverse effects of unhealthy lifestyle and encourage healthy eating. This was based upon true stories from focal group discussions that I've been holding for many years at the Lady Ridgeway Hospital, this was the voice of the children with obesity, young children from Sri Lanka, and I think that would have been one of the reasons of the success of this storybook. The second tool was a food diary, where there were blank pages for each day of the week with plates, blank plates for each meal and snack. And there were stickers at the end of the book, and the children were told to recall at the end of the day what they had been eating and paste these stickers on each of the plates. If you can appreciate, the healthy food had a green background and the unhealthy food had a red background. So there was a psychological or a subconscious knowledge in this as well. And those who had more green on the plate got a smiley face, more red, unhappy face, and we derived a simple scoring system to look at the healthiness of the diet. So during the pre-intervention week, the children were given these food diaries to fill at home with parental support for a week. And the next week, the class teachers read this story with their classes as an interactive discussion. And 1 week after this storybook discussion, we again gave the food diaries back to the children to fill at home for a week. And we were very happy when we saw the results. So you can see highlighted in orange, circled in orange, these are the baseline tests. And you can see the top line is the overall results, and for grade 1 and 2, male, female, and according to their birth weight, their BMI status. So all the marks were around the 50s range, and the lowest marks were in the last row, the obese children. They had 47.7 baseline food habit score. But 1 week after the storybook discussion, you can see that the test scores have all increased to 60 or more. And this was a statistically highly significant improvement. So this was very positive. And this was coupled with very positive feedback from parents and teachers. This was anonymized feedback that we got, and the parents, 90 to 95% of the parents said that the food diary was easy to maintain. It helped their children to differentiate between healthy and unhealthy food, and actually it had motivated the parents themselves to improve their food habits. Also, more than 80% of the children said that though the story had been read at school, the children appeared to have understood and recalled the story back home, also telling their older siblings that they should adopt this healthier lifestyle. They found their children were motivated to improve their diet and actually led to a diet change in their eating habits, showing that we can empower young people with a simple intervention. These are words of our parents. This whole family benefited from the food diary, and this workbook should be added to the school curriculum. The teachers' feedback was similarly positive. More than 95% of the class teachers agreed that the students showed interest, understood, asked questions, and successfully grasped the messages during the storybook discussion. And they also observed improvement in the children's food habits from what they eat at school. One of the most notable moments was when one class teacher told me, "Doctor, I can't believe what's happening. We take these children to the zoo every year, and this year we buy them ice cream, but this year majority of children refuse the ice cream saying it's not good for me." So I think these anecdotal stories also show the improvement it led to. So with this high improvement in healthy food habits after the brief intervention and a high level of acceptance by parents and teachers, we thought this was a successful intervention. We got the opportunity to present this research as an oral presentation at the American Diabetic Association 80th Scientific Sessions, which was held online. And this research was accepted for publication in the BMC Public Health in 2021. Even more promising was the follow-up results. So we assessed the change in the food diary from baseline and what had happened to the BMI Z scores of these children 9 to 12 months after the program. And if we first look at the food diary scores, you can see the baseline levels, as I mentioned, were around the 50s, and in underweight, normal weight, overweight, and obese children, they all had a sustained improvement in their food diary scores. So they were all above 60, even 9 to 12 months after the intervention. And also, when we look at the BMI scores, the children who were underweight had actually shown an increase in their BMI scores towards the median, which is a positive change. So junk food was not only making children obese, they were probably preventing the undernourished children also from getting a healthy diet. And in the obese children shown in the purple arrow, there was a reduction in their BMI Z-score towards the median. So we found a sustained improvement in healthy food habits and a healthy BMI trend towards the mean in all BMI groups. This research was published in the journal Pediatric Obesity in 2024. Furthermore, this was selected to be displayed in the World Health Organization Knowledge Action Portals on NCD and included in the World Health Organization Compendium Report on Multisectoral Action for Prevention and Control of Non-Communicable Diseases as a country case study. So the Ministry of Education was quite interested, and together with the SLDC staff, we actually did nationwide training of all the in-service advisors of all 9 provinces in Sri Lanka with the hope that there would be nationwide implementation. However, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, as schools stopped, this did not progress further. But I hope that the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education will take this forward to introduce this program to the school curriculum, considering the potential benefits to the nation in the years to come. So the key messages from this exercise was that we found that educating and empowering children at a young age via a simple interactive primary school education program would be a very cost-effective method of reaching and empowering the younger generation and their families towards a healthy lifestyle. However, it needs multi-stakeholder commitment at policy level for sustainable and lasting change. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we can all play a role. I spoke about the interventions I had done in pregnancy and childhood, but there are so many areas that we can address. There is infancy and the reproductive age. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you will join me in agreeing that we can all play a preventive role in this growing burden. So again, I'd like to reiterate that this is a call for action for a paradigm shift from a more proactive focus on obesity and diabetes prevention using exercise evidence-based interventions given the rising burden of obesity and diabetes in Sri Lanka, South Asia, and the world. And ladies and gentlemen, I believe that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So with this, I would like to acknowledge so many people who have supported, encouraged, and taught me over the years. I'm very happy to have my PhD supervisor, Professor Paul Hoffman, in the audience. It's a great honor, sir, to have you here today for teaching me about the ABC of developmental programming during my PhD studies. I was funded by Gravida. And this also shows my secondary supervisor, Professor Paul Hoffman, my colleagues, my research participants, and a beautiful institute to work with where research that they do actually translates into the community. And I think that is one of the most important lessons I learned in New Zealand. I would like to really acknowledge the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists for allowing me to take part in the Chandimandi project and the multiple stakeholders, the Sri Lanka Diabetes and Cardiovascular Initiative led by Professor Noel Somasundaran for this wonderful opportunity, and the school health team who helped me to carry out this project. And I would be failing in my duty if I want to acknowledge all my teachers from school, university, and faculty my teachers and colleagues, especially those from the Department of Pediatrics, Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo, Professor Shamya De Silva, who was my trainer in pediatric endocrinology in Sri Lanka, the deans and all the academic staff of the medical faculty, my colleagues from the Lady Ritchie Hospital of Children, Colombo, the study participants, patients, and their families. And finally, I would like to acknowledge my parents who are here in the audience today, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, for supporting me for this decade of work, looking after my young children and giving me the freedom to engage in these studies. A big thank you to my husband Sanjeev, who has been a pillar of strength and support, and my two lovely children for their love and encouragement. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your presence here today.
Congratulations and thank you very much, Professor Sumudhu Senaviratne. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Dr. Nipun De Silva, Secretary, Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Sri Lanka College of Endocrinologists, it's my great privilege to deliver the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion. First and foremost, our heartfelt gratitude goes to our chief guest, Dr. Champika Wickramasinghe, Deputy Director General of Non-Communicable Diseases, Ministry of Health, Sri Lanka, for being with us today to strengthen us as usual. Your continued commitment to enhance NCD services in the country and support SLC activities are greatly appreciated, Madam. We also extend our sincere thanks to our guest of honor, Professor Mark Gunnell, Professor of Clinical Endocrinology, University of Cambridge, UK, for joining us today to grace this occasion with your presence and for your valued contribution to the scientific program. A special word of thanks to Professor Sumudhu Senaviratne, this year's Dr. Henry Rajaratnam Orator, for delivering an inspiring address. We are deeply appreciative of our international faculty joining us from UK, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, and across the South Asia. We thank the International Society for Endocrinology for your collaboration, the Society for Endocrinology UK for the contribution to the scientific program and endorsing SLENDO 2025. I would like to specially mention Dr. Anna Mitchell, representing Society for Endocrinology UK, for working closely with us in developing this academic program and organizing resource persons. Let me thank the European Association for the Study of Diabetes, EASD, for partnering with us in joint symposia, and the South Asian Federation of Endocrine Societies, SAFIS, for the collaboration and organizing SAFIS symposium with special focus on young onset diabetes in South Asia, which is a rising burden in our region. Our thanks also goes to our local faculty for their excellent contribution across a range of topics, tailored to both specialist and non-specialist audience. I would like to thank all the invited guests here today from the Ministry of Health, hospitals, universities, and professional colleges whose presence add great value to this occasion. The work behind SLENDO could not have been achieved without the tireless efforts of our council members, our consultants, acting consultants in endocrinology, and the senior registrars, who have all contributed in so many ways. Let me especially mention the guidance provided by past presidents and senior endocrinologists in organizing this event and bringing SLC to its current caliber. The scientific committee, Dr. Chandrika Subasinghe, Dr. Darshani Karupaya, Dr. Dimuthu Muthuguda, and Dr. Manilka Sumanthilaka, have done an outstanding job. The abstract committee led by Dr. Dolani Kottahachi and Professor Sumudhu Senaviratne, together with our reviewers, have ensured the quality of the academic content. We thank the judges for our oral and poster presentations, the research presenters for submitting their research work and presenting them on forthcoming days. My special thanks goes to Dr. Shani Mathara Diddanipathuge and the team for organizing the SLENDO quiz. We acknowledge the efforts of our partners and service providers. Mr. Dushan Vijayaratne, Mr. Shohan Alvis and the staff of Shangri-La Hotel, Mrs. Dilisha Bulat Singhal and the Asia Tours team, Pasilta Graphics for our printed materials, Mr. Ajit Kodikar and the Trio di Noha Music Group, Chan and Upuli Performing Arts team, Ms. Sharifa Tahir for comparing tonight's event, Mr. Amal Ranok and the Anira Photo team, and Ms. Malshan Flora for the beautiful floral arrangements. We are immensely grateful to our sponsors, Diamond, Platinum, Gold and Silver, as well as those who have generously supported individual symposia, for your vital contribution to SLENDO 2025 and for sustaining our academic activities throughout the year. Thank you very much. I take this opportunity to express my sincere appreciation to the staff of the SLCE, Ms. Sachi Subasinghe, our administrative officer, who marks 10 years of dedicated service to SLCE this year, Mrs. Chulani Halmillaweva, our IT officer, and Ms. Kanti, our office assistant, for their remarkable work behind the scenes to make this event a reality. A special thank you to Dr. Nirmal De Silva, our assistant secretary, for every support. And I should mention that Nirmal would never say no in taking over SLC responsibilities and executing them. Dr. Chatri Javardhana, our treasurer, has taken the burden of all the finances. I wish to acknowledge our president, Dr. Mudita Virakkodi, for her inspiring yet easygoing leadership, making even the busiest of preparations a pleasure to be a part of. Finally, to our delegates, both local and international, you are the heart of SLENDO. Your participation, enthusiasm, and shared commitment to advancing endocrinology are what make this meeting truly special. And to all those whose names I may not have mentioned this evening, accept my sincere thanks. Your contributions, whether seen or unseen, are deeply valued. Thank you all for making SLENDO 2025 possible and for joining us tonight. I wish you a productive, inspiring, and enjoyable conference ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nipul De Silva. And now, as the cultural show begins, I would like to invite our distinguished guests to please take their seats among the audience. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, do enjoy the next few performances by Chanopali Dance Troupe. Well, that was definitely a beautiful peacock dance performed by the Chanopali dance group, and that is a beautiful story as well at the same time, because you just witnessed a girl seeking for freedom together with the peacocks. Nature helps, right? And the next performance is truly Sri Lankan.
මාවත දිගේ කෙම් බිමට දොර හැර තිබේ මේ මං මාවත් දිගේ මුණ ගැසෙන නව යුගයේ අපි ඉන්නේ සේද මාවත දිගේ කෙම් බිමට දොර හැර තිබේ මේ මං මාවත් දිගේ මුණ ගැහෙන නව යුගයේ අපි ඉන්නේ අතීතේ සුවඳයි අපේ සුවඳයි මේ එන්නේ ගාන මුහුදු වගේ මේ යෝධ ගඟුල් සිඹිනා රැසීත නලරල් පවා සුවඳයි අපේ සුවඳයි මේ එන්නේ අපි ගැන ලෝකෙම අපි ගැන අපිටම පුදුම හිතේවි සත්‍යකින්ම අද ලෝ අනන්තට අතට අතදී බෙදා දුන්නට අපේ සිරිය සිරිය ස්තුති ස්තුති ශ්‍රී ලංකා ස්තුති ස්තුති ශ්‍රී ලංකා ගල් කුළු පුරා සරුසාර අස්වනු සදා බෝ ආයු පුදනා තුරා සැක නැතුවයි බය නැතුවයි ඉන්නේ සීසාන ගල් කුළු පුරා නිති සරුසාර අස්වනු සදා බෝ ආයු පුදනා තුරා සැක නැතුවයි බය නැතුවයි ඉන්නේ අපි ගැන හිතේවි සත්‍යකින්ම අද සොබාදහමේ සැබෑ ලස්සන ලබා දුන්නට විඳගන්න ඔබගේ පපුතුරේ හිරෙන් පන ලැබි ඔටුනු හිසදැරු අපි ඔබේ දරුවෝ ලොවේ කොයි වෙතත් රැඳී ගයනිවා සදා ඔබේ අගේ சீரகை விரித்து கொண்ட உயர உயர செல்லும் உலகம் வியக்குனாம் ஒரு தாய் மக்கள் இயற்கை எம்பளம் உழைப்பு எங்கள் பலம் சிகரம் இறங்கையே
Thank you very much once again for that absolutely beautiful performances. And I would now like to request everyone to please stand until the procession leaves the hall.